everybody, welcome to WTF Hammer Underworlds. Today is going to be my final balancing summary video. I know I said that in the Morgwaith video, that was going to be my last balancing video, and it was, but it's going to be my actual last video on this topic of balancing. This time looking at Season 3, I'm going to review all the balancing suggestions I've done so far, Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, wrap it up here. Make sure that you guys have access to the documentation of all the recommendations that I made. Then I'm just going to put this section of my YouTube channel to rest and move on to greater and bigger things. Just quickly review my Season 1 balancing recommendations. They're basically right here. I'd recommended little tweaks, little changes for every warband from Steel Hearts to Magwars, and the ratings are written right to the right of their names. D for Steel Hearts up to B for Sepulchral Guard, which I had ranked as the best of the Season 1 warbands. And all compiled, I basically made a number of errata suggestions as well as recommending new faction-specific cards so that each of these warbands could be play out of the box with a 12 objective card, 11 gambit, 11 upgrade format. And a basic game to look like this. Steel Hearts, I recommended all 3 fighter cards be errated, 1 objective card, 3 power cards. Garrick's Reavers, I had all 5 power cards be errated, 2 objective cards. And there are some changes here from previous videos because I have revisited some of these balancing suggestions. And this is my latest and final iteration. So basically what I had recommended was that a total of 34 cards be errated from the Season 1 faction-specific cards, which could be added to the 2 that already exist from Spikeclaw's Swarm. There was 1 as well from Sepulchral Guard, but that's basically been fixed with the new printout of the Warden that came out in Arena Mortis. So a total of 36 cards errated, and a total of 24 new cards, 3 for each warband to give them that play out of the box ability, which basically came out to this, 60 cards, which is just how it turned out. I didn't force this number, but basically with 60 cards, Season 1 could be fixed, adding 8 viable warbands back into the game, reducing the need to reference errata as well. So a 60 card pack could easily fix Season 1 if Games Workshop wanted to put together such a thing, which I have no expectation that they will do, but this proposition that I did put together would certainly make the game better. And I went on to do this for Season 2 as well, which is summarized here. Required less modifications because the warbands tended to be stronger, more centered around that A tier, which is what I had been trying to balance all warbands around. So Stormsire's Cursebreakers, Thorns, Zarbags, it's all written here how many cards I had recommended for errata. They only needed 2 objective cards per warband in order to have that 12 objective card, 11 gambit, 11 power card layout, making a total of 29 reprints for errata, which is very easy to do, just changing wording on existing cards. No new art needed, no new lore needed, which can be added to the 3 existing cards that have been errated and reprinted just for simplicity's sake. So there were 2 from Stormsire's Cursebreakers and 1 from Moloch's Mob. And then, of course, added to the 16 new cards that I recommended, making a total of 48 cards that could be released that would completely fix Season 2, adding numerous viable warbands back into the game, addressing the overpowered warbands, and reducing the need to reference errata. I had originally had new restricted cards being added for Thorns of the Briar Queen, but since new restricted cards have officially been added as well, I removed those from my own balancing suggestions. And finally, leading into Season 3, there's Season 2.5 first, which is basically Season 3. It's the Dreadfane warbands, Iron Soul Condemners, and Lady Harrow's Mournflight, with 5 total reprint recommendations for errata, 2 restricted cards that I would recommend for Lady Harrow's Mournflight, and then 2 new power cards, an upgrade, and a gambit card for each of these warbands to give them that 12 upgrade, 11 gambit card, 11 upgrade card final base deck just to match the previous warbands from Season 1 and 2 that I had balanced. And this could be added to the official Season 3 cards, going from Grashrax to Morgwaiths, with all the numbers listed here in terms of errata. Only 8 reprints, which could be added to the 2 errata that have already been officially released. So the Scapes Wild Hunt errata for Carthane and the Wormspat errata, which is really minor. It's just putting that little leader crown on the inspired side of Fecula, but I mean, it still could be released. And that would basically be 10 cards reprinted and 16 new cards as well to get that final deck number that I had worked out for Season 1 and 2 as well. which makes for a final tally of this: 26 cards plus 9 from Dreadfane, which is 35 total cards, as well as updating the FAR list, the restricted list for Lady Heroes Mournflight. This would balance Season 3, add numerous viable warbands back into the game, address overpowered warbands, and once again reduce the need to reference errata. So there would be no side documentation that would need to be looked at. All the fixes would already be made on the cards themselves. Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3 warbands would, although not perfect, be better balanced to allow some of the weaker warbands to be as competitive as some of the stronger warbands that exist today, tremendously increasing the diversity of the game and just making it a better game as a whole. And this is the final tally. Season 1 would require a 60 card pack. Season 2 would require a 48 card pack. Season 3 would require a 35 card pack. There would be a FAR update, so a restricted list update, and this would just make Warhammer Underworlds a much better game. And I'm going to be including the PDF document separated by tier, which includes all the specific recommendations that I had for errata and for new faction-specific cards, which I realize will not be picked up, but if it were picked up, would just be awesome and would make this game better. And I realize that there are some practicality issues, just maintaining all the shelf space for previous warbands. I get that there are some complications there, so I don't blame Games Workshop for not doing it. It'd be nice if they did it, and definitely would be a great nod to old players who've been playing this for a while to make their old, previously released warbands no longer irrelevant, because they definitely weren't cheap, and warbands keep getting more and more expensive. But since I do not expect Games Workshop to adopt such a business model, I am going to be moving on from my balancing videos from this point forward, focusing on a different project, which I'll be talking about in a later video. And I just want to quickly show you the PDF file to show you how to navigate it, because I'm going to be making it available in the description of this video, so you could check it out whenever you want to, and even use it if you want to for house rules or whatever it is, in case you guys are interested in using these alternative rules, these new errata and these new faction-specific cards that I theorized and have play tested, but haven't officially built through Photoshop or anything. And here it is. So starting in the S tier, we have Grimwatch, which I had ranked as the strongest warband, then Thorns, then Lady Heroes. There's the fighter card errata. In these guys' cases, there's objective card errata, and then the new objective cards, specifically all the wording, all that kind of stuff. Scroll down, you can find the A tier warband. The A tier warbands, which have more modest modifications typically. So the S tier warbands I had nerfed. The A tier I'm just tweaking, because they are generally within the strength range that I've been trying to center warbands around. We just keep scrolling through. Gastrax is the last. Then B tier, who I had given larger suggestions for, which include Sepulchral Guard, Spiteclaw's Swarm, the Wormspat, Ilthari's Guardians, Garrick's Reavers, and so on. Finally going into, or not finally, but subsequently going into C tier, which includes Far Striders, which have even more recommendations to help make them even more powerful than they are to be comparable to the other warbands. These guys I've buffed. Got Iron Skull's Boys, Godsworn Hunt, and finally going into D tier, the weakest of the warbands, Chosen Axes, Eyes of the Nine, Steel Hearts Champions, and all my recommendations, both in terms of errata and in terms of new faction-specific cards. And there you have it. So just a little boo for Games Workshop. I do love Games Workshop. I love their products. I wish they had made more of an effort to address existing balancing issues instead of just rolling forward as quickly as possible to sell as much product as possible. But I can't say it's a bad business model. It's obviously a better way to make money. It just makes for a more disappointing product, unfortunately. So that does it for the video. I'm going to be working on a larger project, or rather I have been working on a larger project, but I'm just not ready to release it yet. And I'll go into those details a little bit later when I actually start to release the details about it. In the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, please comment below. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content and my previous balancing videos. And I hope you all have a nice day.